Hello, government seekers. What is up, folks? We have an exciting, high octane episode for you today. Thank you for joining us. It is actually, yeah, it's a good episode. Sorry, getting my camera positioned. I think I got the lighting more to where I want it. That seems a little weird right there. All right. Thank you for watching us on my YouTube and Lee Camp's YouTube. Of course, if you're watching on one of our YouTubes, please make sure you subscribe to the other guy's YouTube because all those things help. Thank you to our moderators, Holly Horn and Blaze Silver Wolf. And thank you to everybody watching over on the Rockfin as well. And hit the like button, share this out on your social media, subscribe. All those little analytical things help very much. And we are ready to go. I have some tea here. Oh, see, look at it floats. This looks, it's haunted. Yeah, this is, you can't even see what it is. Wow. All right. I'm drinking invisible liquid. It's actually tea, but you can't tell. We'll see now. Now when I put the hand, you can see it's yellow. So it looks like I'm drinking urine. Anyway, I'm drinking my own urine, folks. It's good. It's supposed to be healthy for you. So let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Government Secrets episode 114 because I numbered 112 twice. So we skipped 113. with the two most censored comedians in America, Lee Camp and Graham Elwood.
Hey, man. It's been a long time since we've discussed your ability or inability to number episodes.
Well,
so I'm glad to bring it back. It's like a callback, an old friend.
Yeah, it's I felt like we had been too accurate for too long, and I felt like it was time to shake it up. Our editor Joe pointed it out to me. He's like, there's actually 2 episode 112s, and I was like, that's deliberate because I have triskaidekaphobia or whatever. So we'll just say that wasn't a screw up. Let's just say I have a fear of the number 13. I did that on purpose.
And by the way, in terms of drinking your own urine, I feel like you are just a couple of days away from like the Peter Thiel drinking the urine of a young man to make you younger kind of stage of health.
Who's Peter Thiel? He just sounds like a whack job.
Oh, he's the founder, co-founder, or a co-investor of PayPal with Elon Musk, and then became a multi-billionaire, and now just funds fucking crazy right-wing shit, and I think he funds literally a urine bank. Is he the one? Like a bank of a bunch of different people's urine. There is a billionaire that funds that. I'm thinking it's Peter Thiel, but
I don't know how to respond to the term urine bank. I really don't know what I like the fact that such a thing exists and he owns one. I don't. Yeah,
he has a private intelligence firm. Warren Buffett has described him as a sociopathic grandfather from Omaha. Oh,
okay.
Peter Thiel described Warren Buffett as a sociopathic grandfather. I have news. They're both sociopaths.
Yeah, I love when 2 sociopaths are calling each other out. Yeah. It's just like rival street gangs saying they're the other one's violent. It's but that is an accurate description of Warren Buffett. He acts like he's this. I remember watching the documentary about him, and it was supposed to be such this like, paternal reverence. He just lives in Omaha, drives his every morning. He goes to McDonald's and has a Coca-Cola and a hamburger. And I'm like, what a nutbag. So he makes all this money and he doesn't even enjoy it. He doesn't even like go to Tahiti or something like that. He just,
well, and whether he uses it or not, it doesn't really matter. It's like you're a sociopath for wanting that much money. It doesn't matter if you fucking live in a simple house. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't start doing anything good with the money till his wife left him, and and she started donating all of his money. She wouldn't file for a divorce, so she just used his money for philanthropy. And then when she passed away from cancer, then he went, "Oh, hey, maybe she was onto something." And even then, it's still more.
Well, and yeah, if you look at what was it like the giving pledge of how they're going to give up 50% when they die or whatever, there's like a billion loopholes where it's like you can give it to your own charity group. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be right when you die. Like it's just, and so it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
There was some article that said Bill Gates was the largest like donor to charity the past year of largest American donor to charity, but like 90% of it was to his own charity fund. Like it doesn't count.
I'm donating once again, everybody, to the Graham Elwood Vegan Smoothie Surf Trip Fund. And we're all very proud of all the people we're helping. Me and my knucklehead surf buddies. We're all helping those guys out in need so we can just surf and
and supply urine to the urine needy. those in need of fresh, young urine.
Oh, great. It's great when dueling sociopathic billionaires are calling each other out. It's just wonderful. But we have two, speaking of hot glasses of urine, we got two hot, fresh government secrets today.
Speaking of hot glasses of urine, drunk out of your government secrets mug.
Which you can get if you go to patreon.com/government secrets, ladies and gentlemen, and get a government secrets mug, drink your urine out of. So you can become sociopathic billionaire.
But yeah, I'm excited. I feel like it's the nail in the coffin of every show Graham loves. Every TV show.
When you told me what you wanted to talk about today, I was like, oh, I think this feels like it's personal. I feel like Lee is deliberately trying to attack my TV show preferences.
Next week, why Batman's mask wouldn't have worked.
Just absolutely just
the physics of Batman. I actually dig deep into the psychology of Batman and show that if a young man had actually been created in that way, he would have become a psychopathic killer instead of a justice vigilante.
Actually, Batman was created by MK Ultra,
yeah,
and the CIA invented surfing to mind control young hippies. So that's what Lee's going to just keep destroying everything that I
feel like it's personal. Next week, green smoothies, government secrets.
Green smoothie. How the FBI infiltrated Big Smoothie to make it all green smoothies turn into a mind control.
Like, Lee, this show took a turn like after about a year of doing it, where it was just whatever I hold up that week, you tear apart and call it fake.
Just everything. Just we really want to. This is part of just making Graham go insane. So we're just gonna say everything that he does is just a scam. Well, who should go first? I have a fun one. You have a fun and your 9-part attack on Graham's TV show preferences series that you're doing.
I don't care who went first last time.
I think I went first last time. So you
all right, I'll give it a go. Do you want to make a funny voice?
The matter-of-factness of which you say that like it's an important part of the show. It's like I was like, do you want to turn the camera on, Graham? Like, do you want to make sure that we're recording this? Like,
funny voice, shot of mattress, and we're good to go.
Lake Government Secrets segment number 1. All CSI shows that Graham enjoyed are now garbage.
So for those who haven't been following, you can go back and listen to the other multi-part series. We skipped last week because we had to cover the Nord Stream, but I have done segments tearing apart bite mark science, arson science, lie detectors, And I can't remember, was there another one or was that it?
I,
That might have been all.
yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. And now we're on to
No,
fingerprints.
blood splatter. You said you had
Blood
blood
splatter.
This
Yes.
is your fifth.
This is number 5 on forensics science is bullshit.
Oh, God.
This may be our longest series actually so far to date. And as I've said in the other parts of the series, if you didn't catch it, that this actually is a government secret because this stuff is used to convict millions of people over the past many, many decades. And it is part of kind of propping up the state government system of if you do anything wrong, we will catch you. And that doesn't mean I want people to murder people, but I want the truth. And this is all part of the kind of sham. It's prosecution theater for our state to go, we will get our man or woman, but 99% of the time it's a man. So,
Yep.
All right.
More
So
men are in prison.
yeah. So this is from issues.org where they wrote this part, but I'm gonna go from multiple sources on this one. But from the beginning, fingerprinting greatly impressed judges and jurors alike. By the way, it's been around for like 100 years or over 100 years. People have been using fingerprints. Experts showed juries blown up visual representations of fingerprints themselves. And of course, all of this has been furthered with all of these TV shows that we keep mentioning where and it's not just CSI, it's these reality-based shows showing cops looking at fingerprints. I remember when I was a kid, either a cop came to our class maybe and talked to us about how fingerprints work and took all of our fingerprints. And we were, as kids, we were like, oh, this is so cool. This is how they catch the bad guys.
Lee, I had a fingerprint kit as a kid.
Did you?
Yes. And I was like so determined to catch like my brother using one of my toys or something like that. Like it was I had fingerprints. I printed and I had a file of everybody in my family's fingerprints.
And did you catch anyone? It turned out I found out my grandpa was sleeping with the lawnmower guy.
Yeah, it's just I was so hoping to bust some big cover up wide open with my fingerprint kit.
Oh yeah. I totally wanted to bust something open, but I didn't have a fingerprint kit, but I would like pretend to spy on family members. I was like, I'm going to catch them doing something illegal.
Yeah. My brother put a tap on our phone. So we would listen to my mom and sisters have phone calls.
Oh man. So did you find out that like you were not the favorite or something like that?
Mainly just see my sister was a teenager, just her dumb teenage gossip phone calls that we ended up getting bored at them.
So they did, and maybe sometimes still continue to do all this show for the jury where they blow up the fingerprints that they, and show them how they match and stuff. Even in the very first cases, fingerprint experts attempted to distinguish their knowledge from other forms of expert testimony by declaring that they offered not opinion, but fact. And I didn't even think about this, but this even goes against DNA, the way they do DNA. When they talk about DNA, they will say it's a 99% match, right, or it's a 99.9% match. With fingerprints, literally, we just have the fingerprint expert say those are his fingerprints. Like it's always 100%. They never give a percentage other than it is or it is not his fingerprints.
Wow.
So, and they never even established, throughout 100 years, they never established conclusively that all fingerprints actually are unique or that their technique was infallible, even with less than perfect fingerprints found at crime scenes. So this is one aspect I'm not really going to get into more, but fingerprints are almost never perfect at a crime scene. Like they'll get like a half a print, or they'll get a blood smudged print or something, or a urine covered prints on Graham's smoothie. Like they're never just like full perfect fingerprints, which of course makes it even less accurate.
So just to clarify here. So first and foremost, this notion we've all been told that everybody's fingerprints are unique to them is not true.
Well, we don't actually know because there's never been a large enough study. There's been studies of maybe hundreds of people or something like that and found that they're not the same. but we've never had a legit study of millions upon millions of people's fingerprints that knows for certain people can't have the same fingerprint. And even if they are like, if it was perfectly analyzed, no one has the same fingerprints. They're not often perfectly analyzed. Often, and I think I mentioned this later, they'll decide after a few swirls and peaks, and fingerprints are very complicated, but they'll decide after a few swirls and peaks, oh yeah, this is the same. Whereas it's not like they analyze every little curvature of every part of a fingerprint. They go off a few peaks and valleys, and there's no proof that someone else couldn't have similar or the same peaks and valleys on that part of the fingerprint, you know? So they then say the judicial habit of relying on precedent created a snowballing effect, which we also talked about that in a previous one. Once a number of courts accepted fingerprints as evidence, later courts simply followed the lead as, oh, these are now perfect evidence. There are additional explanations for the technique's early acceptance. Fingerprinting and its claims that individual distinctiveness was marked on the tips of the fingers had inherent cultural plausibility. At the time, 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, it was a common belief that you could see on people characteristics. People still believed in, like, what's it called, phrenology or something, where the bumps in the head could tell a personality. Like, you could feel a part of a head and go, oh, that's a psychopath. Like, there was a lot of those beliefs. So the idea that fingerprints are individualized made sense.
I mean, I totally get how, like, if you get 20 people in a room, all their fingerprints are going to be different. And you go, okay, so they just go, well, this must be everybody. And,
right.
and we're going to just use this. But then, as you say, it also opens up the fact that most fingerprint that are collected at a crime scene are not perfect prints. There's smudges and, like it's hard to say. Right. So then if you're just comparing smudged version to a full, like, how could you wouldn't be able to know? It's like a pair of shoes. Like, oh, they had a size, 11 and a half Nikes. And I mean, anyone could have those, and
right.
So,
and so, to sum up this next paragraph, they basically, people liked the idea that there was something that wasn't up for debate. Like, either it's his fingerprints or it's not. They liked the idea that you didn't have to have an expert sitting there going, I'm pretty sure. And so it just became this thing starting 100 years ago that they either say it is or it's not. They essentially never say, it seems like it's probably the dude's fingerprints.
The love in so many of these stories, and it's not just this forensic series that you've been doing, but just in so many other instances, but specifically to the forensic series, just somebody just goes, yep, this is the truth. And nobody
right.
goes, yeah, nobody goes, well, wait a minute, let's try to make sure we get it right. There's no team of people. It's just like one guy in his basement, like, yep, this is it. This is I threw ketchup on a wall, so I know what the blood splatter thing is. Just
yeah. And here's one of my favorite things is that fingerprints still retain considerable cultural authority, I'd say, due to all the propaganda. Whether they're good or not, they've had a lot of propaganda. And despite nearly 100 years of routine use by police and prosecutors, central assertions of fingerprint examiners have simply not yet been either verified or tested in a number of ways. Fingerprint examiners lack an objective set of standards for evaluating whether two prints match. This is what I mentioned. There's simply no uniform approach. There's some fingerprint examiners use a point counting method. Others use different methods. There's no fixed requirement for how many points must be similar to declare it a match. Local practices vary. Others reject point counting completely and use a more holistic approach.
A holistic approach? What's the holistic approach? Just,
I assume they mean looking at the entire fingerprint rather than looking at certain points. But
Oh God. So I was just worried that there's some new agey science involved in this. Like they wave a crystal and then they know the right finger.
If you have a crystal by the fingerprint and the fingerprint reacts, then yeah. Although it is known that different individuals can share certain ridge characteristics, the chance of two individuals sharing any given number of identified characteristics is not known. How likely it is that two people could have 4 points of resemblance or 8, no one knows. Like, we don't know any of these things about fingerprints. The potential error rate for fingerprint identification in actual practice has received virtually no systematic study. How often do real-life fingerprint examiners find a match when none exists? How often do experts erroneously declare two prints came from the same source? We don't have the answers. Some proficiency tests show more disturbing results. In one 1995 test, 34% of test takers made erroneous identification. So these are 34% of the so-called fingerprint experts got it wrong, especially when an examiner evaluates.
So a third of the experts
in this test got it wrong. Yeah. Fingerprint examiners routinely testify in court that they have absolute certainty. Indeed, it's a violation of their professional norms to testify about a match in probabilistic terms. And this is what I was talking about, with DNA, they say it's 99.9% that this is only his DNA. With fingerprints, they don't fucking do that. It's just a dude saying, yeah, it was Timmy. Timmy fucking did it.
Oh, and you're the expert? Yeah. How are you the expert? Because I said so. So
I took the fingerprinting class.
Yeah. I'm a self-taught karate expert. I taught myself, so I'm champion of the world.
That's the blood spatter guy who was like, well, I invented this, so clearly I'm an expert.
I'm a heavyweight champion. It's like everything.
It's like if I invented the method to tell if someone murdered someone else by what kind of dog they have. And everyone goes, how are you an expert on that? Well, I came up with it. So I'm perfect.
All right. That border collie guy, lock him up. He's done.
What is striking, even astonishing, is that no serious effort to challenge either the weight or admissibility of fingerprint evidence ever did emerge until a couple of years ago. There's some question about the reliability of fingerprints.
I think it's fair, Lee, to wait a full century before asking any questions.
What you do is you lock up people for a century and you see if anyone complains.
I think all this, are we poisoning the environment or not? Let's just wait another 100 years and then we can ask questions.
You know what it is? They after they convict people with fingerprints, they have one of those little things that they have like airports and restaurants where you can push the smiley face or the frowny face. And we wait 100 years of collecting the smiley or the frowny, and we see what the results are.
Oh. You were locked up based on flim-flam science. Happy?
Frowny
or angry? Like which one?
I think that's just a trick for the TSA to collect our fingerprints.
Oh God, I wouldn't doubt it.
Then they say, I suggest what is driving these opinions, meaning the assumption that all fingerprints are correct, is the concern that if fingerprinting does not survive scrutiny, neither will a great deal of other evidence that we currently allow. Rejecting fingerprinting would, judges fear, tear down the citadel. Yeah, which it should be fucking torn down. It would simply place too many forms of expert evidence in jeopardy, like bite mark science or lie detectors or arson science, none of these should have the word science on them. I don't even know what it should be called. Like fucking bite mark club. It's like a bite mark club of folks that fans. It's a Ren Fair for bite marks.
Okay. Fingerprint cosplay. We could call it that. Like
exactly. Pause play, if you would. No, even though the validity of. Difficult.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to picture bite mark Ren Fair. I'm really trying to picture what that would be like. What are they wearing?
I don't know if you dress up like you have bite marks, or you try and give other people bite marks, or you.
I mean, is everybody still like talking in that like ye old wonder pint of grog? I mean, are they still talking like fair talk, but
Still in the Renaissance accent. Yeah.
Is it so? It's a bite mark Renaissance fair.
That is a niche group. That is a tiny, tiny group.
I'm in whatever the weekend pass is for this Ren for bite mark thing. I'm in whatever it is. I'm in.
Even though the validity of difficult fingerprint identifications may be woefully untested, fingerprint identification is almost certainly more. Oh yeah, this is a law term that I meant to look up that I don't fucking know. More probative. I don't actually know. This is where we come off dumb.
What's probing? Like they
having the quality or function of proving. Well, then it should be provative. All right.
Well, you're probing. Yeah, I get it. You want. Yeah, I get it.
I listen. I'm changing that word. It's from here on out. It's provative. Then
many other provative expert.
Many other sorts of non-expert evidence, including perhaps eyewitness testimony, which I was considering, by the way, doing part 6 on eyewitness testimony next week.
Oh, wow. Just how they, I mean, you can, I get you. I mean, now this is me defending my youthful
your TV shows,
my TV shows and my childhood fingerprint kit. Lee, is I understand when a crime's committed and you need to get as much evidence as possible. And if you have eyewitness testimony and somebody says they saw somebody, but I also know there's so many holes that can be poked in that, because if something happens quickly, you can remember it different, like I mean, just in things that aren't a crime, I thought like, oh no, we met at the restaurant on a Tuesday. And I was like, oh no, it was across the street. Like we've all done that.
Also, they've shown that like, I'm sorry, but the whole joke about they all look alike to you people has some truth behind it, in that white witnesses, if they see a black, quote unquote criminal or crime or whatever person do a crime, they'll go to a what's it called where you view the criminals, a lineup, and they don't, that person may not even be there, but they go, oh yeah, that's him. That's him.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a thing too, there's plenty of guys that look like me. There's plenty of guys that look like you. So, anyone could say,
it's like all those witnesses who say I died for their sins. And I'm like, no, different guy.
Different guy. I liked your Super Bowl ads, by the way. They were really good. It made me want to practice Judaism or Christianity or whatever the Jesus thing was they were talking about.
Your hatred of like the Christian church just made you say Christianity.
Well, it was a toss-up. I mean, I was like, do I drink Pepsi? Do I drink Coke? Do I become a Scientologist? Do I become a Christian? Like, over the Super Bowl, I didn't know what to pick. So,
all right. So then this is from another article in The Guardian where it says the reliability of fingerprint evidence. And by the way, this has been 15 years ago. This did not happen yesterday. People should know this shit. The reliability of fingerprint evidence has been called into question by a study that tested whether forensic experts make consistent judgments on print matches. I love this study. Despite the perceived infallibility of fingerprint evidence, the study found that experts do not always make the same judgment on whether a print matches a mark at a crime scene when presented with the same evidence twice. The finding comes in wake of 2 high-profile cases in which fingerprint matches were subsequently shown to be wrong. So here's how the test worked. The study by Etil Dror, I don't know where he's from, but interesting name, a psychologist at Southampton University, suggests fingerprint, science is not a science. He says, I wanted to see if it is as objective and scientific as people claim. I wanted to see if the same expert would make the same decision. He presented 6 fingerprint experts from various countries with 8 marks from crime scenes, 8 latent prints, and 8 inked marks from suspects. The experts, who had 35 years experience between them, had all given judgments on the pairs of prints in previous court cases, 4 as matches and 4 as exclusions, meaning not matches. Professor Dror engineered the experiment so none of them knew they were participating in a study, something that he says makes the study more powerful. So what these experts didn't know is he was asking them again about fingerprints they had already analyzed in a case they already testified in. So he re-showed them something from a previous trial, and they didn't know it, and they didn't know they were being tested. Of the 48 tests, the experts changed their decision in 6 of them, and only 2 of the experts were consistent with their previous decision in all of the 8 cases. They were more likely to change a decision if given contextual information, such as the suspect has confessed. So the same experts on the same fingerprint, a certain percentage of the time, will change their view a few years later. If they don't know, they've already made a decision.
Well, that sounds comforting to me, Lee. That sounds like, so literally you're a finger expert in what? Just flipping a coin? What, based on whenever you see these fingerprints? Like,
if it were a 6-sided die, then yes, flipping a die, coin, it's not 50-50, but it's like a percentage wrong. Wow. Weird. I can't. I'll pull up the fingerprint. Oh, there it is. Let's see. If you want to, damn it.
We have graphic.
Yeah, graphic.
While Lee's doing that, I will encourage everybody to go to patreon.com/government secrets. We will go live immediately following today's program with a This Week in Government Secrets.
So I have one more article on this. This is from livescience.com, because I thought people would like to know a rough estimate of how many cases are wrong. How often are people either being locked up because were told their fingerprints were found at a sign or a crime scene, or at least it added to, a false positive added to other evidence and, may have been part of the reason they got convicted. So this article says, nobody knows how many people sit wrongfully convicted in prison due to errors in fingerprint matching. But a new study suggests there could be 1,000 or more unknown identification errors in the United States per year. Criminologist Simon Cole of the University of California at Irvine examined all 22 known cases of fingerprint mistakes made since 1920. So since 1920, they only have 22 known cases of fingerprint mistakes. But most of those 22 cases were revealed only through extremely fortuitous circumstances, such as post-conviction DNA test, or in one case, a lab caught fire, which required them to relook at certain evidence. Like, these 22 exonerations or switches were like flukes that they even found them. So this is not like an extensive, let's make sure they got it right process. Cole thinks the high-profile cases are the tip of the iceberg of wrongfully accused, or the tip of the finger, cases that are sometimes swept under the rug or led to convictions. Other studies have shown an error rate of at least 0.8% in matching prints, multiplied across all cases processed by U.S. crime labs in 1 year. That would be 1,900 mistaken fingerprint matches a year.
Oh, that's it. Okay, cool. Let's move on. We'll go to another segment. That sounds good to me, buddy. I think nobody's perfect.
Just 1,900 people either being locked up falsely or being pressured falsely, or, it's just, it's, yeah.
We like to think we're so modern and on the cutting edge. And what we're doing is literally and I've probably said this before in the other segments, we're putting a witch in water and seeing if she floats is what we're doing. And then just to play it safe, as somebody put in the chat, we're going to still burn her at the stake. If she is a witch, let's just play it safe. If she's not, well, hey, we needed to have a fire anyway.
If she sinks, that means she's a real person, right? So if she drowns, she's not a witch.
Right. She drowns, she's not a witch. If she floats, then she is a witch and we burn her at the stake. So either way, we're covered.
By the way, Monty Python skit on that is amazing. Where she goes, if she floats, she's a witch, she's a witch, she's a witch. And then they go, and what else floats? And the crowd goes, small rocks, bridges.
So is that it for the I can never watch a CSI again?
That's it for now. I will try and ruin more of your childhood on the next episode.
I'm hoping. I mean, our ballistics, is that all fake thing too? We can't tell what bullets, like there's no ballistic match. We always say that. Is that
so? Yeah, I think I could probably do a good episode on ballistics, but like there is some, it's kind of similar to fingerprints. It's like if you fire what they'll do is they'll take the gun that fired the bullet and they'll fire a new bullet and they'll check to see if the bullets match the tiny nicks and grooves as it came out of the barrel or that type of thing. Now that can be pretty accurate. I mean, a gun is going to leave certain nicks and grooves similar, but I would imagine, having not looked into it heavily, I would imagine it's pretty similar in that it's like, yeah, it probably is an okay match, but it's not, you could have a nick and a groove from a gun that's not related, or like, it's another one of those things where it's like, it seems likely. Like,
all right, you're going to episode 7 of Lee crushing. I can't now. I got to watch like one of those horrifying, like, realtor reality shows or something like that. I can't watch cop shows anymore. So,
and next week's going to be about how it's highly unlikely that Spider-Man's web could hold him.
All right, that's where I draw the line, Lee. That's where I'm going to say no to you. That's where we're going to have our first on-air disagreement about what you're talking about. I can't stand for this anymore. All right, that was Lee's 6-part, potentially 7 or 9 or 10-part series on how all forensic evidence is nonsense.
Thank you, Rev Edmund Balela, for the donation, but also for giving more of the Monty Python sketch. Like, she's a witch. She turned me into a newt. And then everyone looks at the guy and he goes, I got better.
Thank you, Reverend, for that. So I wanted to talk about, since what's been going on in Ohio, this Palestine, Ohio trailment, and how all this toxic chemicals have been.
Is it pronounced Palestine?
Palestine, yeah, that's how that's what I'm hearing them say on the news. It's called Palestine.
Dude, that's another one of those American, like, we're gonna take the other name and we're fucking changing it.
Yeah, we ain't pronouncing it your way. Yeah. So, and it's starting to come out, and a lot of alternative news sources covering this. I know Ron Placone's talking about it a lot, but it's coming out that they knew there was toxic chemicals in the air, and they said, "Oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." Like, I watched this woman whose family's been affected, and people are having breathing issues, and all this stuff is happening, and it's just this plume of smoke, and it's horrifying. And what's coming out, of course, is that this rail strike that Biden said, "Nope, you can't do that." It really, I saw a rail union guy on Democracy Now! Talking about, if we would have, all these things we've been asking for would have prevented this,
Really?
So, yeah. So I just decided.
Well, and the one, I don't know a ton about this, but I know that there was so it derailed and the chemicals were in there, and because they were afraid of explosion, they did a so-called controlled burn that then put these chemicals into the air. So then everyone has headaches and like all these things, and they're like, oh yeah, no, headaches is cool, it's still within the safe range. And I'm like, you're breathing toxic chemicals that are giving you fucking headaches, and that's the safe range?
Yeah,
Like,
Lee, it's okay to take a firecracker and just blow it off in your hand. Don't put it all the way in your mouth. Like if it in your hand, kind of close to your mouth, that's totally fine and that's
well, if you
acceptable.
lose 2 fingers, that's still within the safe range for a
Yeah, you
firecracker.
still have 3 more
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can kind of cut stuff
Yeah.
and, grab something like, see, there, it works. I can
There.
pick stuff up.
Done.
Um, so I just go through and there's a long list of train derailments and accidents in America. And, but I wanted to find where there was a toxic spill. So, I found the Martin County Slurry spill, and this, why this is a government secret is this is going to shock you. You're going to find out that a big company was kind of protected by politicians. And I know.
Whoa.
I know. It blew me away too.
You just ruined every TV show I used to watch.
Did you only watch West Wing or something?
Yeah, it was just West Wing. That was it.
So the Martin County coal slurry spill, and what coal slurry, just to clarify for people, because I didn't know what this was, is a mixed solids and liquids produced by a coal preparation plant. So as I understand it, they mine the coal out of the ground and then it has to go to one of these preparation plants and to make it usable for consumption for, powering whatever.
Slurry is also what you drink every morning, right?
Yes, I drink, but it's
green slurry.
It's organic coal slurry. I drink organic coal slurry. So this happened around midnight, October 11th, 2000, when the bottom of a coal slurry impoundment owned by Massey Energy, pay attention to that name, in Martin County, Kentucky.
Massey. That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. And they have a long, rich history of doing the right thing for the environment and for the people. Broke into an abandoned underground mine below. The slurry came out of mine openings, sending an estimated 306 million gallons of slurry down 2 tributaries of the Tug Fork River. By morning, Wolf Creek was oozing with black waste on Coldwater Fork. A 10-foot wide stream became a 100-yard expanse of thick slurry. The spill, which contained arsenic, mercury, killed everything in the water. It was over 5 feet deep.
Arsenic, mercury. Now, are these the good for you levels of arsenic, mercury? Like the healthy
absolutely.
levels?
This is the kind of fun amount that you can have. It's like the amount of arsenic,
party drugs.
Yeah, it's like party drugs. It's totally like you're doing a whippet at a party or whatever. You have a half a glass of wine, or you due to a 1,000-year drought, the Salt Lake in Utah gets so dry that the riverbed dumps blow and it has arsenic in that, and that gets in the air for people in Utah. Anyway, so it's like that. It's like that kind of fun stuff.
Serves us Mormons right.
Yes.
I don't trust anyone that doesn't drink coffee.
Wow, this is getting weird. I only drink tea. Man, this is just an attack on me every moment.
This is just a continual personal attacks.
Wow, this is just, we're going to see if Graham floats in a second, I guess. That's what's going on here. This fucking Elwood witch hunt we've got happening. So the spill polluted thousands of miles of Big Sandy River and its tributaries and the Ohio River. The water supply for over 27,000 residents was contaminated, and all aquatic life in Coldwater Fork and Wolf Creek were killed. All of them killed. The spill was 30 times larger than the Exxon Valdez oil spill, which spilled. Yes. That spilled 12 million gallons. So this spilled 306 million gallons, just to give you some perspective. one of the worst environmental disasters ever in southeastern United States, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency.
We
In
have an
2001,
image there if you want to.
oh yeah, let me put that graphic up. Here's the graphic for everybody. Now this is where the government really came in and did the right thing. In 2001, the EPA ordered Massey Energy to clean up and restore the damaged areas of Martin County. The EPA took measures to investigate this site and make restoration plans. A decade later, there are still water quality issues in Martin County. People are still finding sludge and slurry in their surface water, such as streams. So I don't know. That was as of 2011 when this story was written. But this
didn't Massey pull some like fucking legal loophole shit to like get out of paying much?
Oh no, you'll see. It wasn't any sneaky loophole stuff, Lee. It was just good old campaign contributions.
Okay.
So this is where it gets interesting. U.S. Secretary of Labor Elaine Chao, wife of Senator Mitch McConnell, the Republican senator from Kentucky, oversaw the Mine Safety and Health Administration at the time. In 2002, a federal penalty of, Lee, I'm going to let you guess, A, $160,000, B, $5.6 million, C, $56 million, or D, $5,600.
Whatever the CEO of Massey spends on his average evening dinner.
Ah, you're right. $5,600 was leveled against Massey Energy.
Stop.
Yes. A whopping $5,600. They were hit with a fine. Just a crushing. They probably haven't recovered ever since, because I don't know how a multi-billion-dollar company survives a $5,600 penalty, which is the equivalently of me fining you about $9. So that's what happened. But it gets even better. When the Bush administration came into power, they cut the investigation short, as Massey Energy was a generous contributor to the Republican Party.
Yep.
In addition, the Bush presidency aimed to expand energy production and resources in the U.S. and therefore relaxed regulations. But Jack Spadaro, a whistleblower who worked in natural resources and mining, was one of the lead investigators that looked into the spill. He reported evidence that showed the administration and the engineers who were to be looking out for the best interests of the people were aware of another spill in the same area from 1994 on, but they had never released that information to the public and had instead covered it up. Specifically, Spadaro argued that the Bush administration was covering up the Martin County spill. Spadaro complained that the new administration had given lucrative contracts for work at the National Mine Health and Safety Academy to friends. So Mitch McConnell's wife gets a nice job at a federal agency. That the Mine Health and Safety Administration, the MSHA, was divided into 186 smaller contracts, and the MSHA denied the accusations. On June 4th, 2003, government agents began sifting through Spadaro's documents in his office. And then a full investigation began, and the Bush administration and the mining company were all held accountable, and they paid him money, and everything, justice was done. Oh, whoops. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I read that wrong.
I felt like you just slipped up on a couple words there.
Yeah, God, I need to get reading glasses. Let me see if I can read this again. Oh, here it was. When the government came through Spadaro's office, he was locked out and placed on involuntary administrative leave. Eventually, the investigation was closed and Spadaro's evidence was discarded.
Well, you don't want to go after these corporate criminals because it would really put a wet blanket on corporate activity across the country. So you don't want to spook them. It's about spooking the economy, Graham.
Yeah. So this is and this is classic Wikipedia. So they just say like that's the last line at the very bottom of this event is like, oh, the government threatened this guy, fired him, covered everything up, and it went away. Anyway, here's some links to some articles or whatever. Just like it's
Yeah.
it's unreal. There was in 2005, filmmaker Robert Salyer released a documentary entitled Sludge, chronicling the continued story of the Martin County disaster, the resulting federal investigation, and the looming threat of coal slurry ponds throughout the coalified region. In the wake of the Kingston fossil plant coal fly ash slurry spill, Appalshop provided a web stream of Sludge for a limited time. So you can go watch this movie Sludge.
I just like the sentence, a web stream of sludge.
Just
I thought about calling my live stream that, but
it's pretty much that's what mine is. It's a web stream of sludge. That's what this is. It's so we get to see a corrupt corporation, and because it contributes to politicians, those politicians in that party, and I'm sure that the Democrats are guilty of this too, then put key people in these federal oversight agencies.
yeah.
Then they put people in place, so then nothing happens. I mean,
And I can't remember his name, but the head of Massey Energy or founder or something. I did a segment on him years ago about what a twat helmet he is. Just like such a horrible human being. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So Massey had to pay the bone-crushing $5,600 fine, and then had everything swept under the rug.
He had to go home. The executives had to go home to their wife and kids and be like, "Honey, we're gonna have to skip dinner for a couple of years."
A couple of years.
They've hit us hard.
A week. They skipped dinner for a week. I think it was like, honey.
I don't think they skipped dinner for a week.
I don't think they skipped anything. I don't think if anything, they probably just took it out of their employees' pension fund and then went back to the country club and shot a round of golf for 10 grand or something like that. So yeah,
they had to skip their golf game for a day.
Yeah. Oh, what a pinch. So that's Government Secret segment number 2. So that's our fantastic episode today, Lee. I encourage everybody, first of all, if you're listening to this, like it, give a favorable review on whatever platform you are on. And also, if it's video, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff helps. And then support what we're doing at patreon.com/government. We're going to go over there right now, do a live bonus segment. But whenever you sign up for Patreon, all of the live bonus segments are archived. You can see like 25, I think, of them that are on Patreon. So you get all this cool bonus content. And we usually do what we call a twig.
You have like a sleepy Saturday where you miss us. You just go, you join Patreon and you listen to 25 extra segments of Government Secrets.
Yeah. And I would suggest re-listening to these episodes. Anyway, we pack a lot of information in them. And when you read or listen to something a second or third time, you get more information out of it. So, and
I think the forensic series is you listen to some of our series. I think they're important shit. The killing of JFK series, and it'll ruin any faith you have in America. Also, there's that. So
yeah, I would say do it over, do it on Flag Day or the July. Those are the days I would say you binge watch or binge listen to our series is what you should do. So, Lee, where else can people find you and your stuff?
My stuff's at leecamp.net. If you become a member over there, you can get all sorts of exclusive content. And I have a new book coming out in like a month that you'll get if you're a member there. But I'll see you in a minute at the extra content, and I think that's going to be a blast. So.
Cool. Go to grahamella.com, folks. I've got new tour dates out. My special comes out from March, And so I've got tour dates already. I'm in Maui, Kona, and I'll be in Honolulu the end of April. And then I'm in Phoenix and Tucson, May 11th and 12th. More tour dates to follow. So to go to grahamelwood.com. And of course, follow me on social media because the special is going to be coming out. It's very political, make fun of the whole system. And then I have a new TV show coming out called CSI Santa Monica. And so please check that out.
Called Fingerprint Analysis.
Lee Camp is wrong. That's what it's called. That's called. And it's all of the self-proclaimed experts that Lee has debunked. They're just all going to be on my talking about how great their science is. And I'm just going to go, perfect. I love it. I love it. I don't poke any holes in anything you say.
Graham goes into his day job where he's just like, that's awesome. We'll get the bad guys. I love it.
All right. This has been Government Secrets, episode 114 after 2/112s.
All right. See you in a minute, man.
All right. We'll see you over there, folks. Thank you for watching, everybody. And thank you to Dave Burt for supporting us over at rockfin.com. Twice. Thank you so much. Dave Burt, thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com. Folks, you can support, if you go to rockfin.com, you can become a premium member, and for $10 a month, you get to see all my content, all of Lee Camp's premium content, and everybody else that's on that platform. Ron Placone, Abby Martin, there's a bunch of people over there. So thanks, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. We're going to Patreon right now. Go to patreon.com/government secrets. We'll be over there in about 2 minutes. Thank you so much. And thank you to Blaze Saver Wolf and Holly Horn, our moderators. You all are awesome. Thank you to everybody in the chat. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to Lee's YouTube channel. We appreciate you watching and listening. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.